What is up? Standing before me is the only person in the world playing Jurrac in Tengu plant format. His name is Mike. Some of you guys may know him as the amazing Mike Man, who is the only person, I think, in my opinion, who can take Jurrac to World Championship qualifier for Tengu and actually do well with it. What place did you get there?
I got 5th.
You got 5th, nice. How did you do? How did you do it, despite the fact that this is a rogue deck?
Well, honestly, despite it being a rogue deck in terms of representation, it's actually like really slept on. Like I think it's really strong. The problem is people will play it and they don't know how to play it, and then they lose, and then they say the deck sucks. And then people will play against people who don't know how to play it, and then think, oh, Jurrac sucks, easy W. But like, there's a technique to it, and it's actually really strong. Like of all the Tengu decks I've played, this is my highest win rate, which is why I play it so much, because it's my best Tengu deck, and I know how to pilot well.
Yeah. Do you want to show us your tattoo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is tattoo right here. This is how much commitment he has to this deck. He has Alo here on his elbow. He has Jurrac Waiba, and he has Tyrannus. Is that his name? Tyrannus?
Giganoto.
Giganoto,
Yeah, my favorite monster.
Yeah. And do you have no other tattoos?
I have two more.
Of Jurrac?
No, just.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say it was relevant. So yeah, so he strongly believes in this deck enough to get a tattoo of it, and also he's been playing the other decks as well. What other decks have you been playing?
In Tengu?
Yeah, in Tengu.
I've tried Water Synchro, Agents. Like I've tried a little bit, but other decks. I built a few, but this is mainly my main like in-person deck.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I tried a bunch of them online.
All right, let's check out the deck file.
Okay, cool. So first I'll go over all the Jurracs. We play 3 Jurrac Velo, 3 Jurrac Waiba. Oh, one at a time, sorry. Well, I'll just go over these are the ones you play.
Yeah. So these are the main Jurracs that you want to play. Yeah. Yep.
You don't really want to play any other ones. They all kind of suck. Believe me, I've tried some of the other ones. There's other variations, but this is just the best way you can play it right here.
Yeah.
So you got to play 3 of these and then 2 of these. So 3 Velo, 3 Guaiba, 3 Aolo, 2
You want to explain what they all do, or do you?
Yeah, I'll explain actually each one right now. So this is a Rekindling deck before I get into this.
Okay.
And the only target for Rekindling is Jurrac Aolo, which makes a lot of people turn away from it and think, oh, it's a Rekindling deck, but you only have like 1 target. How does that work? Well, this is like the best Rekindling deck because you can consistently get this in Grave versus like other Rekindling decks like Flambells. You have to like mill and get lucky. But for Jurracs, you play multiple ways to get your Rekindling target into play. You have Fossil Digs, and then these 2 can also get your Aolos into play. So you have 9 ways to get Aolo into play, and then also you can just hard draw it.
Okay, so the Aolo deck.
Yeah. So I'll go over what each of them do in a second. So first we got Jurrac Velo. It's a recruiter, it's like Giant Rat, Mystic Tomato. If it's destroyed by battle, you can special summon a Jurrac from your deck. There's a catch though. The monster, this guy, if he's destroyed by battle, he has to be in attack position.
Oh, I see.
So if the opponent has enemy controllers, or Book of Moons, which is a defense, it won't trigger. So it has some restrictions. Also, it has to be in your control when it's destroyed by battle. So you cannot do creature swap shenanigans. But it's great. It trades really well into Tengu, which is everywhere, and then any 2500, because you could land to 2500 and then trigger it. So like Leviathan, Stardust, yeah, it's just really good. So this is like the best card in the deck. You want to see this. If you open like Fossil Dig, you want a Fossil Dig for Velo first because this gets you any Jurrac you need.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the best in the deck. It gives you access to everything. And for example, if you go battle phase, you normal summon it. You go battle phase, and then attack, crash. If you need Guaiba, for example, like it's a good way to dodge Valor. So, because if they have Valor, you might normal summon Guaiba.
Yeah.
They'll Valor it, and then you go battle, and then you won't get the effect for Guaiba. But if you want to play around Valor, for instance, you can normal Velo. They can't Valor it because it's a recruiter. It activates in Grave. You go battle phase, you crash, then you get Guaiba. Then you Lance to get over whatever. So Velo is pretty much almost always live because they're almost always going to have a monster that's over 1700 or equal to 17.
Nice. Okay.
The next one is Jurrac Waiba. There's been some discussion online as to how much to play. Some people say it's better to play 2. Some people say it's better to play 3. I used to believe it's better to play 2, but I think it's really important to have consistency. So I think you should play 3, because even though it's kind of situational, you won't always be able to resolve this. The deck kind of resolves around making your battle effects work. So you need to see a Jurrac in hand, even if it is Guaiba, and it's pretty crazy. This is the one that you want to use when going on the push. You don't really want to like normal summon it unless you have a plan, so you kind of want to hold on to it. But if it's the only one in your hand, then you kind of got to just get it to resolve, and then get your Velo online as soon as possible. Basically, like the way to play the deck, you need to get Velo online ASAP. Once it's online, you have access to your whole engine, and you can fill the grave with your Aeolos, and then pop off with your Kindling plays. Or pivot to Jurrac Guaibas and go on the aggro. Or you can also go into Dino, which I'll get into that in a moment. But basically, Guaiba says if it destroys a monster by battle, you can special Jurrac from the deck, but it cannot declare an attack this turn. So this is really crazy because of how it's ruled. So it doesn't say graveyard, so you can kill tokens. It works with D-Fisher, Macrocosmos, or if it's like Battle Fader or like Plague Spreader. So it's really good. Also, if you crash this with Reborn Tengu, Jurrac Guaiba will trigger.
Yeah.
It's not like Shora or Fire Dog, where if they crash, they won't trigger. Guaiba is ruled in a really awesome way, where it'll resolve.
Yeah.
So that's Guaiba.
Okay.
Next we have Aeolo. So Aeolo's effect is you contribute it to target a level 4 lower Jurrac in your graveyard and revive it. It's basically Lone Fire Blossom, but for the graveyard, and it targets. So they could chain Crow to your target. But it's really crazy. You just normal summon it with priority. Effect Veiler doesn't work against it, and that's something cool. Effect Veiler is actually really bad against this deck. The only target for Effect Veiler is Guaiba, and even then, if Guaiba crashes, like against a Tengu or something, or like you could Lance their Leviathan, make them both 17, then make it crash, it dodges Veiler that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aeolo's great. Aeolo's your Kindling target, and basically, you're not just reviving a bunch of level 1 tuners. You're reviving a tuner that could swap into whatever Jurrac you need. So once you get your grave set up, then you slam down Rekindling, and then you can basically modulate whatever level you want. For example, what I like to do is if I get 2 Velos in grave and any number of Aeolos, that's perfect because I can access Trishula. And that's one thing this deck does really well. You can access Trishula very easily. So yeah, Aeolo's really good. It's the only Rekindling target, but it can swap for any other Jurrac.
I see.
Then we have Jurrac Dino. This is the most situational of the Jurracs, but it's a really good card. If it destroys a monster by battle, during the end phase, you contribute it to draw 2 cards.
Wow.
Or you contribute any Jurrac, but you usually want to be tributing yourself. Because basically, the way this is ruled, it's unaffected by Skill Drain or Effect Veiler or Forbidden Chalice. Because of how end phase procedures work, Effect Veiler is until the end phase.
Yeah.
And Jurrac Dino, during the end phase, you contribute it to draw 2. So mandatory effects have to resolve first. So Effect Veiler's mandatory effect will resolve, and then after that, you can use the optional effect of Jurrac Dino to attribute it to draw 2 cards. So if they Effect Veiler it, you basically go like +3. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jurrac Dino is really insane. It's very situational, so like, basically, Velo's job is kind of just like general access to your deck and when you're on the defensive, but it's very versatile and you could use it for pretty much any purpose because you could crash it if you want to go into the offensive. So this is the best, most versatile card you have. Yeah, when you're floating with Velo, like if they have a bunch of monsters and they're attacking all your Velos, you want to float into Aeolo, so you get them into the graveyard. So like same thing with Fossil Dick. If you have the target in the graveyard, you might as well search Aeolo, and then Aeolo gets that in the graveyard. So it's really cool because like each Jurrac gets another Jurrac. Velo gets any Jurrac in deck, Aeolo gets any Jurrac in grave. And you kind of want to eventually get all of these guys in grave so you can pop off with their Kindling. And then Guaiba also gets any Jurrac from deck too, but it needs to destroy a monster in battle. Here we got Thunder King. The reason I play triple Thunder King is because this deck has a lot of ways to protect your monsters. Shrink, Lance, Mystical Space Typhoon, Effect Veiler. All of which are designed to protect your Jurrac engine, to protect your Jurrac Velo, so you have constant access to your engine, and you're able to play and pretty much do whatever you need to do. Either go on the offensive or defensive, whatever the situation calls for. The beauty of playing all those defensive protection cards, you can use it to protect an oppressive monster like Thunder King. So it just pairs really well with the staples the deck is already playing. If the opponent has Tour Guide, which would normally out Thunder King, chain Veiler, you know?
Yeah.
Or Lance. If they try to attack over Thunder King, you just don't use the negate effect. You set Lance, and then when they attack into it, you lance their
monster.
you lance the Leviathan, right? So space obviously clears back row, so you can summon and get in safely with Thunder King. So yeah, Thunder King is
Yeah, very
It's
good.
like really good. It just pairs really well with the monsters, and if you don't see your engine, you could easily just fall back on Thunder King control and use the support cards that would normally be supporting the Jurrac engine. Use it to just protect this oppressive monster and make sure your opponent can't play the game. If you know they're on agents, don't. I mean, this is just a generic Tengu advice and Tengu plant. If you know they're on agents, don't just normal summon this turn 1, because sure it could stop them from searching with Earth, but if they open Venus, then you just go -1 because they're gonna Venus, they're gonna special Gachi Gachi, and they're gonna be forced to get the Gachi Gachi, and you go -1.
Yeah. Unless you have Lance.
If you have Lance, or even if you have Valor, that's different. So like I said, each situation is different. But as a rule of thumb, if you just have Thunder King and no way to protect it,
Absolutely.
yeah, then you don't want to do it. But if you have a means to protect it, yeah. But then also, if you have Lance, I wouldn't bank on that, because you could normal summon this, set Lance, and then they could have Venus plus MST.
Yeah, I mean, if they have it,
you
they
get
have
punished,
it.
yeah.
Oh, so you just don't even set the Lance with it, even if you have it.
Yeah, so a lot of times I don't set the Lance. It just depends on the situation. It depends on what I'm afraid of and what I'm reading my opponent has, right? Which is a really important part of playing this deck.
Yeah.
Because with Lance, it could be tempting to normal Aguiba set a Lance, but then MST punishes you really hard. And the thing is, Lance isn't just a quick play spell. It's not just interruption. It's your means to out oppressive monsters. If they have a Thunder King, or if they have a monster that's bigger than yours that's oppressing you, your Lance is your answer to not only out that monster, but also advance your game plan and get your Jurracs into play. So that's why it's really important to hold Lance in hand, because you don't want to risk it getting spaced. So that's at least my philosophy, and it's paid off, honestly. Because if you can keep the opponent's MSTs dead, then it's really optimal. And then you could, even if you have like a bunch of normal summons, you could set a Falsa Dig as a bluff, and then set it later once you clear the MST. So there's definitely a lot of different ways to play this. It's definitely big brain. And then I didn't Effect Veiler, crazy. It's so important. But you set it out against like heroes and stuff, heroes and TGs. Anyway, on to the support cards. So we've got triple Rekindling, crazy.
The Rekindling deck.
Yeah, it's a Rekindling deck. It's crazy. Yeah. Rekindling is insane. I mean, what is there to say about it?
Yeah, it's better than Flamvell. It's better here than it in the original archetype it came from. So. Yeah,
it really is. Because like I said, you have in other decks you kind of have to rely on milling or luck, but in Jurracs you have multiple ways, and it's a lot more skill reliant, because you'll see if you see your engine. If you don't see your engine and you brick, that's just unlucky. It doesn't happen too often, but it does happen sometimes. But yeah, like you have so many ways to get you to access your engine. Triple Falsa Dig, triple Velo, triple Guaiba, triple Aeolo. So each Jurrac gets another Jurrac, and you can kind of control what goes into your graveyard, which is why Rekindling is so great. And you could think ahead and plan how you're gonna use that push and at what point. You know, and it's really important to like kind of think about when you find the perfect opening. Like, for example, Rekindling is the best card in your hand. You don't just want to slam it down early game, unless you're kind of backed into a corner and you have no choice. In which case, you know, you got to do what you can to win. But if you can, try to bait out their interruptions, like back row. You know, with not just with space and lances, but like bait it out with plays.
Monster.
Bait it out with plays.
Monster Reborn or something.
and read the situation. You know. And also when your Rekindling is crazy, and when you do use Rekindling, your payoff monsters are usually going to be Trish, Librarian, and Giganoto. Giganoto's fucking insane. I summon this guy all the time, and we'll get into that in a moment. But
I actually saw your game in the World. You actually summoned 2 of them, and that's OTK.
Yeah, this guy's an OTK machine, but he has a little more versatility than that. We'll get into that.
Other than OTK.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the beauty of this deck is you summon Trishula all the time, because you're playing 4s and 1s. So like 2 4s and a 1 make Trish, or 2 4 or a 4 and 1 make Librarian. So you make the levels you make are 5s, 7s, and 9s all the time.
Okay. Odd numbers.
Yeah, 5, 7s, and 9s. So we'll get into that extra in a moment.
Yeah, let's go through all your spells first. I'm sure you have other spells that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah. So that's our rekindling. Triple lance, crazy,
Yeah.
and double shrink. And Book of Moon. These are our quick plays.
Okay.
That are at least battle tricks. But yeah, lance is crazy, shrink is crazy, Book of Moon is crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the perfect ratio because you don't want to. I mean, in my experience, I've tried 3 shrink and it's just too bricky, and the deck becomes like a one-trick pony at that point. But this is like a really good medium, you know.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, just book the Leviathan Dragon, run it over.
Yeah, pretty much.
Book the Thunder King, run it over.
Yeah. And then triple MST. It's a must in Jurrac because you need your. You don't necessarily need your normal summon to go through. Well, you kind of do, but you're also really just want to clip. Back row can be really pesky. So triple MST just deprison, stops you in your tracks. Judgment, warning. Bottomless sometimes if you don't have the lance, but MST is just crazy.
Yeah,
And then here are the staples: MST, heavy, dark hole. Minecon is crazy because you're playing like a bunch of tuners. Then we've got our traps, simple trap lineup.
The Solemn Brigade and Trap Dust Shoot.
Solemn Brigade and Trap Dust Shoot. That's all you're gonna need. Nothing, not much to say here.
Okay. Have you considered playing Bottomless Trap Hole and all that stuff? And Compulsory and Deep Prisons and all that stuff?
I used to play them. I used to play Bottomless, but it's not as good. I'd rather play. Honestly, I feel like every card is mandatory. You have to have your engine. You have to have ways to protect your engine. The Veilers, the MSTs, the Lances, and the Thunder Kings even. And then staples. You know?
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to go into your extra deck or your side deck?
Let's go extra.
Okay, cool.
So Trishula is crazy.
Yeah.
I play Mistworm because you make level 9s like crazy. It's very possible you'll use Trish early game, and then you'll still have Rekindling, and then you'll go Mistworm game 2 and go push for game. Mistworm's crazy. It's one of your few cards that is like your few boss monsters with removal. So Mistworm is actually really fun.
Okay.
Scrap Dragon. This is a flex spot. You could play Stardust if you want, because there's a lot of times you'll like. So here's what this deck does a lot. You'll have your Jurracs, you'll go Battle Phase, and you'll crash Velos, or you'll resolve Guaiba to get your Elos into play and then set up your graveyard. And then main phase 2, you'll activate Rekindling. And when you do that, you'll have like an end board that's crazy with like Librarian, you draw a bunch of cards, and you could have a Stardust to protect yourself from Dark Hole. I like Scrap Dragon because it's oppressive, and usually if I'm in that position, I'm already winning anyway and already up a million cards. So if they Dark Hole me, that's fine because I probably have like more normal summons or shit, even more Rekindlings in hand.
Yeah.
So, you know, or Lance, because like I'll like set a Lance, and then if they Dark Hole me, I'm like sure, I chain Lance and protect whatever is the most important monster.
Okay.
So I'm not too afraid of Dark Hole once I've resolved Rekindling, and you don't make 8s often. The only time you're making 8 is if you're winning.
Okay.
So if you're winning, you might as well make Scrap Dragon, which is more oppressive, outs their monsters, and you can use it to even go for game. So I prefer Scrap Dragon over Stardust, and space is kind of tight. So you don't really want to have 2 level 8s because you're not even making level 8s very often. So makes 9s, the 1 level 8, and here are the 7s. I play a lot of 7s because the deck can make 7s very easily. First, we got Double Giganoto. I play 2 of this guy so his effect is, let me explain, not many people know what he does. His effect is all Jurracs gain 200 attack for each Jurrac in your graveyard. So late game, this dude is insane, he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I summoned him this past game, today actually, and I got him up to like 5,300 attack each.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can even go up to 6,000, sometimes like 3,000, 4,000.
Yeah, big dino.
Yeah, so like, if you can get 2 of them on the field, their effects stack. So you basically get the boost twice if you get both of them on the field, which is why they're insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you honestly, they're really good for OTKs. And their attack can get so high, like if they're at like 6,000 or 4,000, 5,000, just attack for game. It kills through Gores, kills through Track. So it's really crazy. Also, the effect is awesome because like your other Jurracs get a boost too. So sometimes it's optimal to just like summon a single Giganoto, because you're not always going to summon them together. Although if you are going to summon 2 of them, you're probably going for game for OTK. But
It
sometimes
pumps up other Jurracs, so
Yeah, it pumps up other Jurracs.
Yeah, so this way you want to keep up Velo or use Guaiba to run over stuff, I'm assuming?
Yeah, Guaiba or Dino. Well, the thing is, honestly, Dino is better because you already have field. Guaiba gets you field presence or makes synchro plays.
Yeah.
So if you have this guy and you want to go for a push, you want to get Jurrac Dino to draw more cards. You could draw into Effect Veiler, which will protect it on the opponent's turn.
Okay.
So
Beefy
Jurrac,
guy.
huh?
It'll be a beefy guy with Effect Veiler backed up.
Exactly. Now it's like, how are they going to out it? They BLS it, and it's like, sure, Veiler, and the next turn you just kill their BLS because this guy's like insanely high. So yeah, it's crazy. And there's a lot of times where it's optimal to just pass on a really big guy. Because think about it. Effect Veiler, Jurrac Velo, right? The strategy of the deck is keep this guy on field, protect it at all costs, and you use your MSTs, your Lances, and your Effect Veilers to protect it. Because they're not going to get through a battle because you basically have 6 copies of it. You float into Aeolo, so you have 3 Velos, 3 Aeolos, 6 copies of it. They have to kill it 6 times, which is not going to happen. They're also not going to get over 5,000, 4,000, even 3,000 attack monsters. It's very unlikely. So if you set Lance or have an Effect Veiler in hand, there's a lot of times where it's optimal to just have this guy on field, pass, and only if you have the means to protect it. Like, that's a really important thing to mention. If you have the means to protect it, sometimes it's optimal to just pass on this guy, and then the opponent might try to summon Hyperion, Brionica, whatever, try to out it. You chain Veiler, or they might Dark Hole, you chain Lance, and his attack is usually so high that Lance
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, because he's going to be like 35 minus 8, it's still going to be 27. So, you know, but yeah, it's great. And then on your following turn, normal Jurrac, get in and plus like crazy, or even kill, depending on what you're had.
Yeah.
So it's just a really strong oppressive card. Very tough. And well, I don't know about oppressive. More like it facilitates your other Jurracs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see.
It's really high attack. And in a simplified game state, having a like 3,000 or 4,000 attack monster on field is just like insane. So like when you and your opponent are down like in a low resource match where you guys have both like 1 or 2 cards, and you could summon this guy, you put them on a clock, and they have to deal with this. Especially if you have like a Lance or a Veiler to protect it, you just win. Okay. So this is like such a strong card. I play Scrap Archfiend. This is for skill drain. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's 2,700 original attack, and I might mention skill drain does not hurt this deck at all. If you're going against CG stun and they flip skill drain, you smile. You smile and be like, sure, because like. Skill drain doesn't stop anything except Guaiba. Like your
That's a graveyard effect, yeah.
Velo's graveyard effect, Aeolo's graveyard effect, Dino tributes for cost, so skill drain doesn't stop it.
Yeah.
And yeah, Guaiba's the only thing skill drain stops, and that's fine. Guaiba's situational. So you can also, you can cut this really. This isn't super important if you want to play the Stardust and Scrap Dragon, because like you could just summon Black Rose as your big beater, but that extra 700 can come up. And then another thing, if they have Skill Drain, and you want to like pop off with like Trishula or something, you could Lance your Trish. So like you just have a million answers for Skill Drain decks. Anyway, that's Black Rose, obvious. You can make level 7s easy, so it's pretty crazy. But like, I wouldn't Black Rose a board like with like set 4 because they probably have Starlight Road.
You can just Lance, and then that'll be unaffected, right?
Oh, you could actually, yeah. It depends. If you have Lance, then go for it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blow the deal, Lance, move.
But they also could have warning. That's another thing to consider.
Yeah, they have warning.
Yeah. Urbellum is crazy. Urbellum is insane because, and I feel like this is honestly mandatory, even though it's extremely situational, because in the situations it does come up, it's insane. The deck has a bunch of battle traps, or quick battle spells, sorry. 3 Lance, double Shrink, and Book. Or mainly Lance and Shrink, synergize with this, because it doesn't need to be a direct attack. So you can basically lock your opponent like Yada. It's pretty crazy. And then Ancient Fairy Dragon, it's great for field spell decks, especially Gravekeepers. Against Gravekeepers, because Gravekeepers is a really hard matchup because they have Necro Valley, and which just turns off your whole deck. All your Aeolos and all your Rekindlings are just dead. And then also, they sit on Spy, and you can't get over Spy. Your Lance doesn't do anything, like it's insanely hard to get over Spy. So what you need to do is find a way to get to Ancient Fairy Dragon as soon as possible. Once you get this guy on field, it shuts off their Necro Valley, and then in games 2 and 3, it'll side in your Close Forest, and it searches Close Forest. So this is crazy. It's like their Kryptonite. We got the 1/6 Brionic. It's crazy. It doesn't come up often, but since you can make 5s super easily, you could like rekindling, get a few 1s on field, and then sink 5 and then make a 6.
Yeah.
And then Brio. But
It's almost like a Fish Decay where there's like different lines with your rekindling.
what happened?
It's almost like Fish Decay where you have lines with rekindling as opposed to fish, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of different lines depending on what you have and what your opponent has. So it is kind of a big brain deck. Like there's a lot of factors to consider. Even though it seems like, oh, you just attack, but it's a lot more than that. The 2 best level 5s in the game, Catastrophe Librarian. This is crazy, you get to draw a bunch, and then Catastrophe's great for agents because Honest is a scary card.
Yeah.
And then I played Jurrac Velfito. It's situational.
What to do?
But, I'll read it right now. So its attack and defense are actually I have it memorized. Its attack and defense are equal to the original attack and defense of the monsters used for Synchro Summon. So it's almost always going to be 19 because you're going to make this with Velo and Aolo. Although you can make it with a Jurrac and an Effect Veiler, because the thing is the non-tuner needs to be a dinosaur.
Yeah.
But the tuner could be anything, Aolo or Effect Veiler.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be 1700 or 1900 attack.
Oh, I see.
And the secondary effect is if it attacks a face-down defense position monster, it destroys it with the effect without flipping it face-up or applying damage calculation.
I see.
So it's really good if you're like against X-Sabers or Gravekeepers, for instance, because it like if they have a set Spy or set what's the card I'm looking for? The insect in X-Sabers.
Oh, Ember's Blade. Yeah.
Ember's Blade. If they have Ember's Blade, if they have Pashul, if they have
So it's good against those things.
Yeah.
TGs maybe? I don't know.
no, not TGs.
Yeah, they don't have
because
TGs set.
it's really bad against TGs. Because
Yeah.
you might as well just beat them with Jurracs. Oh, by the way, TGs is like the deck's freest matchup. TG is
Okay.
the best matchup. TG and Dragoonity are probably the 2 best matchups.
Okay, good to know.
The hardest matchups are probably like Heroes and Gravekeepers.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Hero Beat? Hero
yeah.
Beat?
Hero Beat
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Gravekeeper.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Velfito is also really good against heroes as an option because they set Snowman Eater.
Yeah.
So it outs pretty much any sets. It outs Hamster. Outs a lot of things. It's great.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Reaper, etc. And then we got 2 rank force, Steel Swarm and
Stealing Tengus and Thunder King Ryo, I'm assuming?
yeah. Or you can just make rank 4s on your own. Roach is crazy if you can protect it.
Yeah.
Because the risk with Roach is they could just go Tour Guide and beat over it. But if you have a Lance, then it's like insane.
Okay.
Because
Let's go to your side deck.
yeah, here's the side. So my side is a little different because I updated it, but triple Mexi. It's really good in Tengu as a side deck option
Yeah.
for Tengu plants and pretty much any special summon heavy deck.
What do you take out of your main deck for these?
It depends. It depends on the matchup, but usually Effect Veiler because Mexi is better against Tengu plant than Effect Veiler is against them. But it just depends because there are a few other decks that I said Mexi in for.
Agents?
I actually don't set in Mexi for agents.
Okay.
Because a lot of their summons are inherent. It's only good if you open it against Venus.
Yeah.
But like after that, like Hyperion, BLS, Sork, yeah, or like it's just bad against all their other specials. Even Tour Guide, like they're gonna normal Tour Guide, you chain Mexi, then they special sing in, you know.
Yeah, draw 2.
No, you
Oh
draw
yeah,
one.
you would draw 2 if they Xyz.
Yeah,
But
so
they're
if you
not
Mexi their Tour Guide, they get their Singin online, and then you just upstart. And then they stop. And then now you're in like a bad spot.
But you can summon Guaiba and run over the tour guide.
That's true, that is a factor, but yeah, I mean, that is something to consider. I don't know. I mean, if you want to set it in against agents, it's actually decent, but I'd rather have Veilers against agents.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I have better sides for agents, which we'll get into in a moment. But if they're on okay, well, I'm gonna spoil it right now. I side Blackhorn
Yeah.
for agents. Blackhorn
Good
and
card.
Leeching the Light. Leeching the Light is insane. You have to have this.
Yeah.
It basically, it's insane for your agent matchup. Any deck will side Leeching the Light for agents, but especially Jurracs because you get the bonus effects.
Yeah.
So Leeching the Light's crazy. And then we got Blackhorn Heaven, which is just an insane card in this format. It's good against. It can stop anything Thunder King can stop. So, yeah, it's crazy. It stops Hyperion, stops BLS, stops Sork, stops any Synchro, stops any Xyz. Yeah, it's just really great for especially Hyperion. You don't want to waste this on a Gachi Gachi, but Blackhorn's insane. In fact, it's so insane, I'm playing a 3rd one now. But when I
Yeah.
got top 8, I was only setting 2.
I see.
But it's performed so well that I have to play a 3rd one.
Yeah,
I
it's
cut
great.
DD Crow. So during the top 8, I had DD Crow, but it's now Blackhorn.
Yeah.
So, but this is good against a lot of things. Like I said, for X-Sabers, pretty much anything that's like a special summon heavy deck. Because it's just crazy.
Inherits. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, I'd rather have this against agents than Maxi. Unless if they're on Decree, then Maxi's better, but like, because like Blackhorn pretty much answers anything they summon that's a threat. I wouldn't like Blackhorn a tour guide, not a tour guide, but a Leviathan, because Leviathan's just a 2500 beater. It's not deterring anything because you have Velo. It's just gonna ignore it. But I would Blackhorn like Hyperion or Christia, something like that's an actual problem. Versus like Maxi. Maxi does not answer Hyperion, does not answer Christia.
Yeah.
You know? So I just feel like it's a subpar side, and I'd rather like really fuck them over. So these are the 5 cards I side in versus agents.
So this is only for Tengu.
Not usually.
What do you mean?
Maxi.
Because it actually is a battle.
Or like Synchrons, or
Okay.
like.
Oh yeah, I guess
It
that's
depends.
enough.
Like there are decks. I mean, I can't think of like that many off the top of my head, but there are a few decks that.
Hero Beat and Gravekeeper, you don't do that.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not those. Yeah, like Synchrons, and I definitely sided in for Synchrons. Definitely sided in for.
Because I'm running 3 of these.
Dragoonity?
They help me keep
Yeah, although like my deck kind of already stops Dragoonity. I'm on triple MST, triple Valor.
Okay.
You know.
Plus Forest, probably.
But yeah, it's good against Dragoonity. It's also really good against zombies.
If people play that.
What's up?
If people play zombies, you'll decide that.
Yeah, zombies are pretty good at Slipdown.
Yeah.
Triple Decree. This is crazy against pretty much all the control matchups. TG Stun, Hero Beat, and Gravekeepers, and Worms. It's insane. It's really good. It makes your Jurracs pretty much free to do whatever they want to do.
Do you
It's
side out the Solemn Brigade for the Royal Decree?
No, I don't actually.
Okay, so you're playing both.
I side in Valor. I side out Valor.
Okay.
Because Valor's dead against
TGs.
against TGs. Valor's dead against TGs. It's dead against Gravekeepers. It's dead against heroes. So, and I can keep the Warning because Warning is crazy. Warning is still a good card. And
Yeah.
the thing is, they're gonna try to out the Decree. And once they do, your Warning is live. Or you set your Warning, use your Warning first, then use Decree if you see both of them simultaneously. Or even better, you see one, not the other. So, yeah.
You'll see Warning without it. Then
Yeah.
you draw into the Decree, you're like, okay, it's dead.
Yeah, exactly. If you see Warning, then you draw into Decree, that's perfect. The other way around, it's still okay, because the other way around, if your Decree is live, you floodgated them, you're winning.
Yeah.
So what if you have a dead Warning? You know what I mean? So Decree is crazy, and then Warning is just a decent card to keep in. But I do set out Death Shoot, because those decks set 4 anyway.
Yeah.
So your Death Shoot's going to be dead. So
There you go. Easy side out.
yeah, but I keep especially Judgment, because if you have like Judgment Decree set, then they're gonna like try to Judgment your Decree. You could flip Judgment to stop it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, or especially if like they have Mirror Force MST, you have like Decree Judgment, you attack, they're gonna Mirror Force you. You flip Decree, they chain MST, you chain Judgment. You know what I mean? It's just like really good protection that ensures your Decree will resolve.
Ensures it, yeah.
Yeah. And then these are Puppet Plant and Slept On. One of the best side cards in this format. Obviously Steel's Warriors. It's insane against Heroes, insane against X-Sabers, insane against 6 Sams, and it's really good against Chaos even.
Okay.
Because Chaos Sorcerer is a spellcaster. This takes spellcasters or warriors.
There you go.
So it could steal BLS and it could steal Chaos Sorcerer.
And banish yourself.
Yeah.
Or attack directly. Whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Or I could synchro with it. Normal
Yeah.
summon Aolo, sync with Chaos Orc, make a 7.
Sounds good.
And then attack directly with Urbellum. Urbellum, set him back. So this is like an insane card, especially against. Also, it's really good against Gravekeepers because everything they have is a spellcaster.
That's true.
So you could pitch it, take a spellcaster, normal 3, make a 7, make Ancient Fairy Dragon, and then search my next card. Plus
Those
4.
orbs. Yep.
Yep, crazy. I mean, this is for field spell decks. Dragoonity and Gravekeeper are pretty much the only two in the format, but they. Gravekeepers provide enough of a problem that warrants this. So here's my side for Gravekeepers. I side an insane amount. Just like, yeah.
Yeah. It's a hard matchup. I get
It's a hard matchup, so
Yeah.
you have to. But like, the cool thing is, these aren't just specifically for Gravekeepers. They're versatile. This is any field spell deck, any warrior or spellcaster deck, and then any trap deck. You know.
Yeah, that's what you want for a side deck. To be able to hit multiple decks.
And this is pretty much exactly what it is.
Okay, cool.
It's pretty much versatile. Maxi is any special summon heavy deck that Maxi can hurt.
Yeah.
This is any special summon heavy deck, pretty much any of them, because this is good against Tengu Plant. It's good against everything with special summons.
Yeah.
Inherently, I mean. And then this is good against light. which are two of the most prominent decks in the format.
Yeah, Hero Beat.
Hero Beat and Agents.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a deck.
Cool. I appreciate the deck profile. You put a lot of thought into every single card choice I've seen, and that's really useful for anybody who's interested in playing Jurracs. Not sure if there's many, but I'm sure there is, and you can be the spearhead leader of Jurracs to like get people to play this deck as Tengu plant grows and grows and grows hopefully every year. So what were your matchups throughout the world qualifier, if you remember?
I have it. So I keep a spreadsheet of all my matches with this deck to keep track of my wins and losses and to learn. So let me find that for you real quick. Hero Fabled, it was a really interesting deck where they mixed heroes and fableds.
Yeah.
I beat them. I played against X-Sabers. I played against 3 Agents. I played against Dragoonity, and I played against Gravekeepers.
3 X-Sabers, 2 Agents.
No. 3 Agents. I played against Agents 3 times.
Okay.
And I won 2 of them, lost 1.
Yeah.
So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My 2 losses were to Agents and Gravekeepers.
Okay.
But I won every other match. Yeah. But a lot of which were 2-0. Damn, I was on fire that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Oh yeah, that's awesome. What other matchups have we talked about where you have a pretty hard time or decent time against either or? You have a spreadsheet, right? Oh, is that spreadsheet only for the world champion?
No, it's for pretty much everything.
For everything, yeah.
Yeah.
What other losses have you had with Jurracs?
I mean, I pretty much beat every deck at least once, and I've also lost not every deck, but like tough matchups are Gravekeepers and TG Stun. Or no, TG Stun is free. TG Stun is
Yeah,
easy.
that's you just said it.
Sorry, Gravekeepers and Hero Beat are the hardest.
Yeah. How's your scrap matchup?
Scrap?
Does
I
somebody
don't
play
play
that?
against it often, honestly. I want to play against it more. It's a really interesting deck.
That's really surprising.
I don't have enough data against scraps because not many people play that deck
Yeah.
to really give a good answer, but I think it's probably fine because I'm on triple Valor,
Yeah.
triple MST to chain to their Fiendish Chains and their Call Hornets, and they play the 1700 Scrap Beast, which crashes.
Yeah.
I think it probably pretty well. I think it's probably pretty good. Only thing is I'm a triple Thunder King and scraps just eat up Thunder King.
Yeah.
So I probably would side out Thunder King in games 2 and 3, but I think good. Oh, and then also I could chain Lance to their scrap. It's a quick play spell.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I probably have a good matchup. Yeah.
And Infernities, have you been playing against Infernities at all?
Not much. Not many people are on Infinities. Not many people are on scraps.
It's very surprising. Okay.
Oh, you know what's another hard matchup? Piper Chaos.
Oh, okay.
Piper Chaos is actually a really annoying matchup because they don't commit to the field.
Yeah.
The thing is, for Jurracs to play, you have to have a monster to either crash into or beat over by battle.
Right.
The problem with Piper Chaos is they just normal Piper, draw a card.
Yeah.
And then they just kill you out of nowhere with one big push with like BLS.
Yeah, Trag. Well, they bring out a Trag.
They do bring out a Trag very often, and the problem with Trag is it's usually like 3,000, 3,600 attack.
I see.
And Shrink doesn't work against Trag.
Yeah.
Because Shrink has original, and Trag's original attack is question mark, and its continuous effect will reapply. So if you shrink it, it does nothing to Trag.
Oh, weird.
So you don't really have answers to Trag, unfortunately. Like
Mind Control?
mind control, you could just out it with Trish.
Yeah.
Like if Trag is their only monster on field, it's pretty hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And that's another problem. Like they'll just play Tragodia control because they'll have like 6 cards in hand, 3,600 Tragodia, and then you'll be floating with Velo, but like they'll be putting you in a clock because every time you take like 1,300 or like 1,900 damage each time. So like you can't crash Velo that often. So Piper Chaos is really hard because they don't, if they summon a Thunder King, you're fine because then you could lance it and pop off from there. But usually they won't summon anything and they'll just do Trag control and then kill you out of nowhere with BLS. It's really hard. Yeah. So like I would try to like refrain from attacking them or giving them damage. Set your warnings, and then like warning the Tragodia because that's a problem.
Okay. Anything else? Any final words that you want to have for this deck profile?
Yeah, if you're gonna play this deck, I recommend it. It's really good. Just practice and win with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Join the cult, the Jurrac cult.
Join the Jurrac cult. Oh yeah, and then in the Tengu Plant Town Discord, there's a Jurrac section. People, we always like bounce ideas off each other. You know. So if you got ideas for the deck, or you just want to talk about it, learn more, you can talk to me on that Discord. Yeah, and I can
Amazing Mike Man.
answer questions. Yeah.
All right,
Just ask
cool.
questions, and I'll be the one to answer them.
All right, well, thank you for the very extensive deck profile on Jurrac, and and I hope to see you more in the future, especially for the PS5 tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, you're able to do a top 8 or even better, win the whole thing.
I will. I'm gonna go first. That's
All right,
for sure.
let's go,
Yes,
Jurrac.
it's gonna happen.
All right, see
I'm
you
the main
soon.
character, man.
See you soon.
See you, man.